All right, guys, a little late tonight, 8:05, but we're here in another episode of TigerBait Live. Lots to discuss tonight. I could tell by Twitter and our message boards and Buddy's show earlier today, a lot of hand-wringing out there about where LSU football recruiting is at. And, of course, Derek Williams from New Iberia Westgate committed to Texas Monday, and that's got everybody getting a little antsy and been making a lot of calls the last 24 to 48 hours and getting a pulse of where things are about to go. And so I think there's a lot of positives that are about to come LSU's way. So we're going to talk about that and a lot more. Of course, the show brought to you by Pride Roofing. We couldn't do it each and every week without them. And, of course, Tony Freeman with Assurance Financial. We'll talk about both of them a little bit later in the show. LSU baseball recruiting, a UCLA pitcher is in the fold now for Jay Johnson. But I think there's some things there we're going to add to that. And we're just weeks away from LSU at SEC Football Media Days, Brian Kelly. So it's all about to start coming together, I believe. So welcome in, buddy.
Good to see you. Look, not to get too personal tonight here. We're kind of chilling. This is the last show in June, and obviously we hope that all of you are having a great time as you make your way to the beach. I mean, anybody who's somebody, Mike, is going on vacation or been on vacation or still on vacation. I had no idea Mike was going to sing me this tune. When I asked him about Derek Williams, he started singing, "All my exes live in Texas." And of course, Texas has done a great job since the verbal commitment of Arch Manning. And so you get all this hand-wringing and all this trepidation and all this freak out that LSU fans and collegiate fans who care about their teams and universities that don't want to see the purity of what is left in college football is quickly eroding and going away by day. But it's not the ones that you don't get, it's the ones that you get. And I think people forget that Scott Woodward has made 4 incredible coaching hires that all have great potential. Kim Mulkey, what kind of recruiter has she been?
It's excellent. We didn't talk about that because that was last Friday. Michaela Williams.
Matt McMahon.
Fantastic so far.
New nickname for Jay Johnson. This is just me. Everybody's got JJ and everything else. You know the Honey Badger who's now playing for the Saints? We've got another Honey Badger in Baton Rouge because Jay Johnson is taking what he frickin' wants.
Oh, that is absolutely true.
And then, of course, you got Brian Kelly, the coach that's got more wins on his resume than any active college football coach. And so if you look at what Brian Kelly, the way he stacks up with Mulkey, McMahon, and Johnson, he's probably number 4 at this point.
I said that the other day.
At this point in his tenure, but he's only been here, folks, 8 freaking months. He got here the day before December. We're getting ready to turn the calendar on Friday to July 7th. So, look, we have a lot of recruiting and a lot of I'm starting to do some statistical, some research. By the way, you want to know how many touchdowns Miles Brennan has thrown in his LSU career? What do you think? Been here 5 years.
I don't know. You tell me.
13. 6 INTs. Guess how many touchdowns John Emery scored in his career at LSU?
Go ahead.
7. So my point is that just because the guy comes in, was John Emery not a 5-star?
Depending on where you looked.
Well, yeah, but you remember when you went and saw him, you said, this guy's the real deal. My point is this, folks. With the transfer portal, with unlimited scholars on a given year, quit worrying about a freshman who's learning how to shave and learning how to get to class and starting to see all the things that you see as a freshman versus the transfer portal. This is a great time. You don't have to hit home run. And, oh, by the way, LSU's quarterback room is pretty darn good, and I think people got to realize that is going to affect some of the incoming quarterbacks that are looking at LSU.
All right, guys, let me scroll up. I want to get to a lot of your comments, and thanks to all of you for being here with us. And as always, if you're enjoying the show, do me a favor, please hit the like button and subscribe. But the like button, most definitely. I know a lot of people haven't actually registered for YouTube. But I think you still can hit the like button even though you're not a registered user. But if you are a registered user, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. But that like button is really important because it helps us with the algorithm. It puts us in the recommended videos portion of YouTube, and it really helps us. So if you're enjoying the show, please do us that favor. And again, after the show, go to TigerBait and subscribe. You can try us out for $1. I think you'll enjoy the premium content. We're on our message boards day and night, and certainly even though there's a little lull period right now, we're about to get into a gear in recruiting, and we're just weeks away from the start of fall camp, and so football season is going to be here before you know it, and we're going to be unfurling a lot of new features on TigerBait.com. Tiger Den Sports chimes in. Hey, Mike, I love your show and love all your content and knowledge of LSU. Thank you for that, Tiger Den. Nurse Court in the house. Hey, guys. Doug Knows says, forecast for July looks bright, Mike. Any surprise that nobody else is talking about? I think that what we've been seeing on Dante Moore the last week or so is going to come to fruition. I think early next week. I think probably early next week, look for him to be an Oregon commitment, and which is okay. I think that's the way it was trending. I will say this, that if you think LSU's losing Dante Moore because of lack of NIL or the inability to match whatever's the going rate or for quarterbacks that are out there pursuing big NIL deals, you'd be wrong. I've talked to a lot of people, and I believe that him to Oregon is really based on depth and the ability to hit the ground and see the field quicker at Oregon than he can at LSU.
And if you want to look at it this way, folks, LSU already has their quarterback for the 2023 class. You know who that is? Walker Howard.
Yeah.
Well, my point is this. Him and Jamie have put it out that they'd like to redshirt. And of course, you still can.
Walker hasn't put that out.
Well, but Jamie and them probably think, now he's going to go compete, and we all know that they're all going to butt heads and try to come to be in the top two. You know Coach Kelly and the guys have got to make a decision on who the top two are in the first couple weeks so they can get according reps with the ones getting ready for Florida State. But my point is, if he does, in fact, redshirt, that's your quarterback right there. He's going to be a redshirt freshman.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And so my point is that if he does, in fact, redshirt, and this is a problem that Dante Moore and all the big boys are seeing. Why did not Arch Manning and Eli Holstein consider LSU seriously?
Because of Walker Howard.
Exactly. So quit lamenting on the fact that Dante Moore is going to light up the Pac-12. If you were his dad or mom, and, man, we love that South cooking, we love that stadium and all that, but you know what, baby? I like what Nike can provide for us. And, oh, by the way, you're going against Pac-12 defenses versus the SEC. If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, and they've already got green and gold in their wardrobe, they're going to be Oregon Ducks. And you know what? It's probably the right decision with the quarterback depth in the room for Dante Moore.
Golden Boot Pod. I'll be on their show Sunday night on YouTube. Be sure to check them out. And they say Mike and Buddy are in the building. Yes, we are. Glad to have you guys with us. Jay Johnson is on fire and hope it rubs off on football, says Chance Babin. BK Takeover, how it's going, Mike and Buddy? Glad to have you with us. Tyler Azan, what's up, Mike and Buddy? Thanks to all you guys for the kind words and being with us. Let's see. PCB and Arch was never coming to Baton Rouge. That is not a loss. Absolutely. And I agree with you. And I go down the line and talk about the Louisiana kids that are committed elsewhere or projecting to commit elsewhere. And if I start telling you why and what they are and why it doesn't matter, it sounds like I'm making excuses. Now, you start losing Kai Preen and Lance Hurd and Shelton Sampson and some others, then I'll help.
Kyron Jackson.
Kylan Jackson. I'll help you jump on the mound and bring the party tray for your pity party. But
Well,
That's not necessary right now.
Next week, I'm going to have a list of all the people that have come in on the transfer portal. And, Mike, I can rattle off 5 quick names in the secondary. Brooks and Fouché from Arkansas, your old land of residence and living there for many years. Mackay coming over from Lafayette. Bernard Converse from Okie State. That's 4. And, oh, by the way, 7 Banks makes 5. All 5 of those guys could be on the field at some point. If Banks or somebody plays in the nickel and the 2 safeties and the 2 corners, that's 5 from the transfer portal that could all be on the field at the same time if it works out that way. And yet people are freaking out about a 17, 18-year-old kid, wet behind the ears, just learning how to shave, just trying to grow a mustache. And you got all these guys with experience that are coming in. The portal and the new rule with unlimited scholars is going to save this program and accelerate the rebuild. Just my opinion.
No, I agree with you. Shannon Colada says, hey, Mike, glad to have you with us, Shannon. Joey Terrio, love the show, listening from Tennessee. All right. Eric DeLeon, Corey, at Corey, none of the Mannings gave the middle finger to Louisiana. It just seems y'all want to be tyrant and control people where they go to school, but as an individual, wherever they want to, you, okay. Yeah, there's no reason to rip on Arch Manning for that decision. I think it absolutely makes sense. I don't see him winning a job at LSU, and I don't know what kind of quarterbacks Texas recruits. I think he's going to have a tough time winning a job there. He's good for headlines, and he's good for being a shiny object to help lure other kids. They got the #1 recruiting class in the country right now. But do I think Arch Manning's the #1 player in the country? No, I do not.
And in 3 years,
I don't even know if he's in my top 5.
But in 3 years, he might be appreciably better.
Top 5 in Louisiana, I don't think he's there.
Yeah. Well, right now he's not. But he's got the pedigree, and he's got the people that he can lean on. But, look, I go back to Eli Holstein and Arch Manning. You're not going to seriously consider LSU as long as Walker Howard and Garrett Nussmeier are both freshmen at this time. You just don't have enough difference in classification space. Now, if they were juniors and sophomores, it's more feasible. I think LSU, Joe Sloan, Den Brock, and Brian Kelly ought to be going after a 24 quarterback and get him locked in like Notre Dame did a couple weeks ago with Carr. That's what strategy I would take, because 23 is irrelevant. If you redshirt Walker Howard, that's your quarterback for 2023, even though he signed up for this class.
Kyle Skeens, #ask Mike, chance that LSU flips Derek Williams. Also thoughts on possibility of us swapping kids across states and us taking JV and Taviano after they got Williams. Look, LSU is going to be hot and heavy out of state. Defensive linemen, there's going to be a whole slew of them. What that group's going to look like is going to be something to see, that what Coach Kane's going to be doing on defensive linemen. I'm told that they're extremely excited about the haul that Coach Kane thinks he's going to be able to bring in. And, of course, he's got a lot of helpers in that building, J.R. Belton, Arsenal, and many of them, Little Bobby, all of them. But, look, I'll say this about Derek Williams. We're almost to July 1. And having lived in the Lafayette area and been around people from New Iberia people are known to change their mind.
Okay. Well, all I remember is everybody talking about a New Iberia haircut, which, of course, is trending. But it's early, and I pose this question.
I'm going to say this. I had a buddy in college.
Yeah.
And he had a nickname that I'm not going to say.
Okay.
But I think he's kind of typical of New Iberia.
All right.
Like you would invite him for something to do on a Friday night, and he was all in. But somewhere between then and Friday, he would get a better offer. And so he had a nickname for doing that. And I've known a lot of people from New Iberia, and I'm throwing shade their way because I'm waiting for someone from New Iberia to say, hey, Mike, cut it out. But, yeah, had a girlfriend from New Iberia. Look, they changed their mind over there, okay?
Oh, now it becomes in on the relationship. The plot thickens.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Look, she's still a dear friend of mine.
By the way, Nurse Court, Aunt, Pooh Bear, all those great listeners that are on all these shows and Blake shows and all that. We do appreciate the interaction. And Mike surprised me. He says he gets in there in spaces, and they all thinking that I'm on Twitter.
Tiger Den Sports says, I am from New Iberia. I bet you know what I'm talking about, Tiger Den Sports.
Hey, but look, where did Keishon Butte come from?
New Iberia.
Okay, well, I'm not going to kick him.
And look, there was a little drama with him, wasn't there?
Well, there's drama, but there's always drama. You just talked about your love life. There was drama there.
And some of the biggest LSU haters in the world are in New Iberia, too.
Yeah, well, I always find out that, look, you can't worry about that.
Super majority LSU, but they got some militant LSU haters from New Iberia.
By the way, I just got
Cajun fans.
I just got this on the way over. Sarkisian in Texas has done so well in the last couple of weeks. He is pleading with the Texas AD to drop the sponsorship. They've got a big corporate sponsorship with Shorman, and because they've been soft as a baby's butt for about the last 5 years. So if you're going to let those soft-ass Texas Longhorns come in here and dominate the SEC like they say they are, I think there's a rude awakening. Oh, by the way, what happened to them in baseball this year in Omaha? Was that 2 in barbecue? Mm-hmm. Okay. I don't think people are scared.
But isn't that amazing you bring up Ole Miss? I mean, seriously, they weren't supposed to even get in the tournament.
No.
Look what happened. Golden Boot Pod, Mike, have you seen this much panic before July before? I don't know if I can pinpoint right before July, but there's certainly been portions of the year, and Buddy and I have been doing recruiting segments since the early to mid-'90s. And there's been many, almost every recruiting year, there's some little stretch where there's some panic. And it don't matter who it is. Saban had years of panic. I remember Saban having a hard time convincing kids whether they should choose ULL or LSU. And losing, was it Roydell Williams to Tulane? Mm-hmm. I mean, it don't matter who it is. But talking to Jason Howell, longtime friend, of course, he covers recruiting for Texags today. And he's worked for Rivals as a regional analyst. He ran a Baylor site 20 years ago. And we were kind of talking about a lot of things. And, man, go look at A&M's commitment list. They got 5 commitments. You think they're panicking? They're the #1 class in the country last year. It's no different. They've had a couple of decommits, and now they've got, if you want to call them big sister, Texas with the #1 ranked recruiting class and all the fanfare that they're getting. So, you think they're melting down in College Station? I don't think so. But I do think you're about to see. I don't know how big the floodgate opening is going to be, but I think there's going to be a floodgate in the next week to 10 days.
I continue to just give the feedback that I get from people who I trust. And Brian Kelly and this staff are going to go about it in a different way. You putting all your emphasis and look, everybody beats their chest, remember?
Danny Girl's got you.
Okay.
She goes, I'm convinced Buddy has a spy account and listens to us in Spaces. I was in Spaces last night, and I told Buddy about it. I don't think he has a spy account. I'm gonna grab his phone before he leaves.
No, I told North Court this. I told Blake this. I can go in Spaces and not be on Twitter and still listen.
Okay.
Okay? I told him that. Okay? But the point that Danny kind of got me on the road, but I forgot what we were talking about. But no, I listen to Spaces. I don't have Twitter because 20 times a day I'd be sending out GFY. You know what that means?
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't say it.
No, I'm not going to say it, but I'm saying that is what I would be saying half the time with the crazies on social media. Back to Pooh Bear.
One day when I retire, I'm going to let it fly like that.
No, but it's irrelevant whether you rank 7th, 10th, 15th, or 1.
Nurse Court's calling you out, Buddy. She says, Buddy is the only person in the world I know who never has to log into Twitter. They swear up and down you got a burner account.
Well,
he might have an extra cell phone and we don't even know about it. Buddy definitely has a Twitter burner account, says Pooh Bear. Is it Pooh Bear that runs a Golden Boot Pod account? I'm assuming he does.
Yeah.
All right, guys, y'all having fun with Buddy?
Hey, I look. It's like the time the guy said that he saw me at McDonald's line. Look, I got to be honest. Cane's going up so much and the fingers are so small, we're going to Chick-fil-A now.
Chad Michael says Ole Miss was a preseason top 5 team. Good last year, and most of the team returned. Don't understand their mid to end season performance, but that tournament, and he gives us 3 flame emojis.
Well, they were number 1 at one point in the season. They had a bunch of injuries, and by the grace of God, Mike Bianco and those guys won Ole Miss a national championship. Now, you know the last national championship that Ole Miss has, Mike? The ladies golf team won a national championship a couple years ago. And then you go back, and Ole Miss, the acronym of Omaha used to be Ole Miss ain't here again or Ole Miss at home again, so we can't tease Colonel Reb anymore. But I think it's good for Mike Bianco. He's a good guy, former LSU coach, player, assistant. And now some guys in the media are getting on their knees and blowing him like
yeah, but I mean,
Feinbaum blows Saban. But
he really wasn't supposed to be in the tournament.
No, they were bubble. They were last team, one of the last teams in. Yeah,
NC State got the shaft, but look what he did. And by the way, had he not made the tournament like he was supposed to, he would have been fired.
Conjecture that he could have been having one of those meetings.
So that's amazing. Joel Robinson, big thanks for the super chat, much appreciated. He says thank you for the show, and of course we thank you in return. Great to see you guys. The Tigers will be fine, he says. So
you know what I think it is, Mike, more than anything? LSU baseball's done. Track and field is done. Everything's done. I don't watch hockey, but hockey's done. NBA's done. I mean, we got to have something to sink our teeth into. And because you and I have been talking about this every year, historically, LSU's got 15 verbal commitments going into that camp or that first game. But, folks, in 2022, a verbal commitment doesn't mean the same thing it meant 5 years ago. When Sugar Daddy, that has the orange suit, Matthew McConaughey, says, I'm going to give you money and I'm going to put you in the movies, that's a hard sell. When A&M comes to the table, they pick up the tab. So relax.
Okay, you make the call of who it is. I'm going to read you the comment, and you tell me who the poster is.
All right.
Hi, guys. It looks like the Gran Torino got another free pass and a free year from Woody.
Brian Madere, who is a guy that's followed our show for a long time.
He's ready for the Beth Torino era to end at LSU.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Brian is one of those guys that when they got the 3-star wide receiver, I read you the text back and forth, and he said you better do better in recruiting or they're going to run his ass off. Now, Mike, is this man guaranteed 90 or 100 million? Brian Kelly?
Yeah.
He ain't going anywhere whether you want him to or not. And secondly, quit freaking out about these high school kids that are 3 stars, 4 stars, and 5 stars. Was Justin Jefferson a 3-star?
Yeah, he was.
Did he play like a 5-star?
He was barely a 3-star.
Did he play like a 5-star?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Well, who cares what the rating is?
Guys, got a nice group in here tonight for a hot summer with no sports going on. Much appreciative for you guys all tuning in tonight. Again, like I said earlier, please hit the like button if you're enjoying the show. Really helps us out with the YouTube algorithm and the Facebook algorithm. If you're watching us on Facebook, we stream to both places. And, of course, like I say each and every week, we're here because of Pride Roofing is being our title sponsor. And let's go ahead and listen to Mike and Alex real quick.
Hi, I'm Michael with Pride Roofing.
I'm Alex.
Were you affected by Hurricane Ida?
Insurance claim, no problem.
Are you concerned about the shortage of building materials?
We have what you need.
We're licensed residential and commercial contractors.
In Louisiana and Mississippi.
We install shingles, metal, and commercial roofing. From Baton Rouge to Slidell or Houma up to the North Shore.
We got you covered. Call Pride, 855-PRIDE-16.
Pride Roofing, the official roofer of TigerBait.com.
There you go. That's the old commercial. I'm going to run the new one a little bit later in the show, but 855-PRIDE-16. Give them a call. Commercial or residential, free roof inspection. Tell them you heard about them right here on TigerBait.com. and they're going to pay for you to have free TigerBait Premium for a year. That's a $99 value that they're paying for. And I've got a couple of guys that I need to get hooked up. Miss Tammy called me, and so that promo is going to forever run. So jump all over it if you're not already a TigerBait subscriber. If you think you need a new roof, you're unsure, want to know what it's going to be, what it entails, give them a call, 855-PRIDE-16, anywhere in South Louisiana, all the way to the Texas border, southern Mississippi, Gulf Coast Mississippi, of course, real big in the North Shore, Covington, Mandeville, based in Albany, and all the way up to Jackson, Mississippi. Pride Roofing will get you taken care of, and nobody does it better than those guys.
Hey, folks, look, Mike takes great pride in the film that he shoots and the quality and what we try to do with giving you, being your eyes and ears when we go out to practice. It's the same thing with these people. They take great pride. It's not just the saying, it's a reality. We have had hundreds of people call Pride Roofing and do business with them. They will sharpen the pencil to get you the best deal. They're going to show up on time. They're going to get it done, clean it up, and everybody in the neighborhood is going to be saying, WTF? Are you kidding me? Holy cow, we just had a hurricane and I didn't lose a shingle. How did you do that, Paul? How did you do that, Ben? How did you do that, Randy? It's simple, folks. Give them an opportunity. And now that they've acquired Crown Metals, it has totally changed the game with metal roofing and all the ins and outs. Trust me, 275-2041. Our new Baton Rouge salesman went to school with Mike Scarborough, Mike Kirby, 225-445-1071. That's his personal cell phone number, 855-PRIDE-16. All we ask is that you give them an opportunity. I promise you, you're going to take great pride in the way they do business. And you know the kicker, Mike? They're likable. You know, it's one thing to do business with people that are good, but man, it's nice to do business with people that you like. That's how I try to affiliate my sponsorship and relationships with. I know you the same. And those people are lifelong friends. Trust us, folks. Give them an opportunity.
Absolutely. Blake Ruffino with AYS Sports, our good buddy, says Mike looks extra non-swollen green. Well, I'm definitely swole. I've been eating rigatoni at 9:30 at night, and then following that up with ice cream. Let's see what we see got here. Jay Johnson is actively doing well in the portal. I know there's concerns about that UCLA pitcher. Did you get a chance to dig into him at all?
All I saw is Kendall Rogers tweeting that his back situation looks to be getting better.
Man, I got a message from a orthopedic who's familiar with that injury, and he said, no. Like
Don't take him?
Yeah, big concerns.
Well, there's no doubt.
I assure you that Jay Johnson did his homework.
Well, and listen, you're picking up a stud from Creighton. You're picking up a stud from Vandy. You're picking up a stud from UCLA. And let's be honest.
There's more kids out there, big-time pitchers are about to hit the portal.
Well, and especially.
And what you're talking about Jay Johnson being a honey badger, I'm telling you, the things that I'm hearing, man.
And come on, LSU. Get those two coaches an NIL deal with Johnson and Johnson. It just makes too much sense. By the way, Blake, continue to do the great job that he does. And I had his show on, and I was in one part of the house and the other. I don't know if he was screaming or what, but I was able to hear him about, 200 yards away.
Dude, Ricks.
He's been getting excited, Mike, with all the people that are freaking out.
Yeah, and here's another one. I have stayed away from LSU football sports talk since the spring. Seeing all these top Louisiana kids leaving has drug me back in. I don't understand the kids know if all they go to LSU is championships. If they all go to LSU, LSU gets championships. Again, like I said earlier in the show, I can go line by line and tell you this is why this kid's not going to LSU. This is why this kid doesn't make sense. This is why this kid doesn't matter. This kid, I think his rating is overblown, and it all looks like sour grapes, and I don't want to do that. But there are some kids, like I said, if there's a few names that, and Lance Hurd being one of them, and I think LSU's in great shape for him. I really do. if you start losing guys like that, then like I said, I'll bring the party tray to your pity party. But I don't think there's any reason to get up on the Mississippi Bridge and start taking nosedives.
Now, let me explain something real quick, Mike. We were talking about how recruiting is not in the stage at the end of June in 2022. Didn't Nick Saban flip a couple guys the last 3-4 years from Bama to LSU? Wide receiver and DN a couple of years ago. Obviously got the 3 wide receivers, got the tight end after he danced with Coach Kelly. My whole point is that very seldom do you get a couple freshmen that are coming in. And I'm going to tell you right now, folks, in case you don't know, if you're sleeping, 66 and 50 are going to play a lot, and they are the future of that new offensive line. You love Hurd. If you can get 2, 3, 4 of those guys. Mike, I don't ever remember.
Hurd is right there in that category with Will Campbell and Emory Jones. I think can be that type of kid.
But I don't know if he's that mature at this level because Will's been here since January. But I was just going to ask.
I'm just talking about what he can be.
Right. But when's the last time you remember 2 in-state Louisiana offensive linemen that came in and either started or were in the 2 deep? Campbell's going to start at left tackle.
Emory Jones is going to make a move.
Emory Jones, we've been saying it, he is a big, nasty.
And by the way, when I say he's going to make a move, it's not like the guy in front of him is going to be easy. So what does that tell you about the depth that LSU's amassed in a hurry?
Well,
I think LSU's offensive line is going to get better each and every week. And I honestly believe you start talking about that first game against Florida State without even really studying FSU and what they have and don't have. There's no doubt in my mind that Brian Kelly's going to want to send a message, set a tone that they've got a power running game. He's going to want to establish the run in game 1.
Tremont Sharts and Miles Frazier were also 2 big-time offensive linemen. Sharts, of course, as we know, played 4 years at East Tennessee State. Miles Frazier, a lot of people wanted him, Mike. So they are going to be appreciably better. But I am excited to see 66 and 50 pile-driving people at the offensive line in the trenches this year.
Hold on. Before I get to Kevin, let me get Leon. I had him up there. Leon Hurricane says, what about the linebacker from Manning, Louisiana? Tackett Curtis. Is it USC, Ohio State, Wisconsin? That absolutely, he's heading out of state. Class 2A linebacker, also played quarterback for Manny. Never came to camp. Just seemed like LSU was always an afterthought. They can say a year ago that LSU was late to offer, and maybe that was why. Hasn't made any real attempts to come to LSU multiple times for official or unofficial visits. And so I think it is what it is. And like I've said, and look, I like Tackett. I think he's a good kid. He's a good interview. He's polite. I don't know the politics of what's going on over there, but look, we'll see what happens. We're going to see what Matt House brings in at linebacker.
Well, it gets back to this. For whatever reason, there has been a cloud with that family and LSU. And listen, one of the tunes that I like to play a little more music on the show in the summertime because we got more time to kill. But love the one you're with, oh, Danny and Nurse Court. Okay? Might not be a Scarborough or a Buddy, but love the one you're with. Roll with the one you're with. If he doesn't want to be in Baton Rouge, he doesn't want to play at Tiger Stadium.
Don't want to come to camp.
Doesn't want to come to camp. Bye-bye. Okay? Felicia, whatever you want to call him. You can't always get – everybody doesn't feel the same way about LSU that the fans do. So let it go. You got big-time linebackers that DeMario Tolan. Hey, listen. Wait till you see what he looks like. Wait till you see what some of these other kids look like. We hadn't even talked about Harold Perkins, and the sky's the limit for that kid.
Yeah, exactly. American Patriot, big thank you, American Patriot, for the super chat. How many more players can LSU get from the portal? Which sport?
He's talking baseball? Football, and he's probably talking about those 2 that carried over.
Well, you still have 2 there, but what do you do with that? I mean, what's available? Isn't it kind of getting and then you start to say, okay, well, if there's nothing there that you like, and now you're working towards an 85 number, don't use them. That's 2 extra you can have for next year.
Was Jamar Chase recruited heavily?
A little bit.
Was he committed to Florida?
Yeah.
Was he going to commit to Texas Tech on the NFL Network and something happened? Yeah? Mm-hmm. Did he end up at LSU?
I forgot about that one.
My point is this. You're just putting gray hair.
Was it Texas Tech or TCU?
TCU, one of them. He was going to commit to him, and they're going to do it on the NFL Network.
I remember.
It got preempted. But my point is that you've got the quarterbacks. Quit worrying about the verbal commitments. And Mike, with NIL, it makes your heart feel good if you have 15. But guess what? Suppose they get an NIL deal somewhere else and go somewhere else at the last minute. It's just not the same as far as verbal commitments as it was 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago.
Yeah. Want to talk about Tony Freeman, Insurance Financial. And if you're thinking of buying a home, refinancing your current mortgage, but haven't found a lender you can trust, let me tell you about Tony Freeman with Insurance Financial right here in Baton Rouge. She's a dear friend of mine and someone who many of my friends have used for their mortgage needs repeatedly. Her knowledge and over 25 years of experience in the mortgage industry is unsurpassed. She offers a wide range of knowledge of home loan products, whether you're a first-time home buyer ready to buy a new home or you just want to explore your refinance options. Tony can guide you through your next mortgage experience. You can feel confident you're making the best financial decision with Tony as your guide. Not only is Tony a huge LSU fan, but Assurance Financial is a proud partner of LSU Athletics. Call Tony today at 225-239-7150. Again, that's 225-239-7150. And please tell her you heard about her right here on TigerBait.com. NMLS number 104765. Equal Housing Opportunity 70876. And I also want to give my condolences to Tony. She lost her dear mother, Miss Selena Miller, who had a brave fight with cancer. And so our thoughts and prayers at TigerBait go out to Tony and her family. So we're going to be thinking of her all week and going forward.
May she rest in peace. Tony, of course, once again, very classy, no strangers, big smile, total professional. Trust me, you're going to love doing business with Tony.
Absolutely. And now's the time when you need somebody like her with the Fed raising rates and you're seeing what inflation has done to the housing market. It looks like it's dipping and coming back up. But that's why you need someone like her with so much experience. Give her a call. All right, guys, let me scroll through real quick.
Fire them in, folks. I told Mike we were going to do at least an hour. If I'm going to come over here and drive all the way over here to Scarborough Lane, we're going to do a good hour. But I am starting to sink my teeth in. And Mike is kidding me, folks. He thinks that I've got the Paul Feinbaum knee pads that he has for Saban, that I'm carrying around the left knee Brian and the right knee Kelly. And that's not to be the case. I don't think any of us know what they're going to look like at this point on the night of September 4th in the Superdome in front of about 60,000 LSU fans and another 7,000 or so.
I'm pretty confident you're going to go at 8-4 in August.
8-4 and 9-3, but there are so many games that you can't predict. All right, Arkansas, they could be pretty good.
I know they are.
Tennessee, we had a listener in Tennessee, a viewer in Tennessee. Man, you talk about having Tony Vitale-itis. Tony Vitello.
They're chomping the bit just to
but
be
they
relevant.
are yapping. Beat Alabama and get competitive, and then we'll talk. But my point is that Ole Miss, Arkansas, Tennessee, Texas A&M, those are all games that LSU could win or lose, and we don't know who the quarterback's going to be. We don't know if they're going to have injuries at those particular points. So a lot of things we don't know. But I like the process of the rebuild, and I like the meticulous nature. Tell you the other thing that history's going to tell us. This is a damn good staff that Brian Kelly brought in year one.
Absolutely. obviously they've been out and about. I've had a chance to talk to multiple of the staffers many times, seeing the way they conduct themselves, hearing the feedback from the families. He's got some impressive guys. And then what's really going to be amazing is if some of them get nice hauls, because some of them got to have nice hauls out of state. Then they're going to show you what they can do in recruiting. I think the guy who could really blow people away is Coach Kane, with what the opportunity that he's got with defensive line, with the haul that he's got to bring in. Frank Wilson's got it easy. You know, he's already got Trey Holly on board, and he's got to get Caleb Jackson right here in Baton Rouge at Liberty, and then he's done. No other coach on the staff has that luxury.
Well, I ask you this every other week, but as you look and see what we saw in the spring and what's coming in with the transfer portal and the new recruits, what position do you think is of the most need for the 2023 class?
Man, I think wide receiver. I think wide receiver is a bigger position than people think.
Going to lose Butte and Jeray Jenkins for sure.
Yep. And
so you got to get some wide receivers.
You got to have a solid group of 4
corners,
and maybe 4 and a transfer portal kid.
You could lose,
or 3 and 2.
You could lose 22, 24, and 7 banks. All those guys could go. So corner, I think, is a need.
But of course, a big look across the board. You need bodies. I think the only position where you wouldn't be hitting the portal is quarterback.
You need a center, Mike. You need a legitimate center.
Well, but then how does Fitzgerald West come along? Is he the guy that people think he can be?
But you need more than one. I mean, I want to see LSU finally get too deep in the offensive line.
You got Dellinger's little brother out there. What's he gonna do? Tight end is a big position of need. I think Denbrock has got some guys.
That's the other one I was going to mention.
Not a lot of people talk about tight end. I think LSU's in great shape with the tight end from Ohio.
Yeah.
So offensive line. What the position we're really not talking about enough is tight ends.
Well, you said Mason Taylor looked the part when you saw him out at the camp a couple weeks ago. Jacques did a little snippet with Nick Storrs, and he finally said he's 6'6", 265, and he's finally healthy. Obviously, Monstebash did a good job, and Cole Taylor caught the ball well in the spring game. So that's 4, but definitely got to have some tight ends.
Yeah, but, I'm talking about a kid from Ohio. And of course, he's class of 24. But so for 23, you're going to need more. You're going to, who are going to be the guys there? We're going to see how that plays out. That's going to be real interesting. Bo Swindle, hopefully we can sign some offensive linemen and some quarterbacks. Seems like all the quarterback are disappearing. There's Ricky Collins right here in your backyard, and LSU is all in on him. Joe Sloan has been recruiting him hard for months, and so Ricky Collins is definitely one to watch for the quarterback spot.
But I'm hearing, this is me, this is your business, but I'm hearing.
And by the
Ricky,
way, another quarterback to watch is Brock Glenn from Memphis, who's also.
I'm hearing Ricky wants to go somewhere where he can play. Ricky Collins, and let's be honest, Purdue's done a good job with quarterbacks, and so look. These kids get a little slighted. Ask me about that cornerback Matthews.
I think with Ricky, no way Purdue holds on to him. And what's about to come to fruition with him is what I've been saying for months. When all these guys, Rashada and Dante Moore and on, Jackson Arnold and whoever else you want to mention, Arch Manning, throw them all in there, Holstein, that all of a sudden Ricks is going to be holding the bag and he's going to be in the catbird seat. And I'm getting calls from my friends that cover Ohio State, that cover Notre Dame, and they're all asking me, what am I hearing down here about Ricky Collins? Because they're all focusing on him. Just like A&M's going after Baylor's quarterback commitment because they didn't get a couple of guys that they had up on their list. And so Once they all start going off the board in the next week and through July, Ricky Collins is going to be able to pick his spot.
I'm sorry, I don't see him at LSU. He sees Walker Howard. He sees Garrett Nussmeier. He sees Jaden Daniels and Miles running. To me, if he's that valuable, why would he come play behind two guys that are freshmen right now? He can get a bag. That's what they all call it now. He can get a big-ass bag, Mike, from Miami or A&M or Texas or somewhere, leave this state, grow up and be a man, and all of a sudden he's not waiting 3 years to play.
We'll see. And I'm curious to see how he does at the Elite 11. He's down there right now, and I hope he does well.
By the way, give him that tidbit about Dante Moore, too.
I did already.
I'm talking about going out to Oregon and then staying out there and going to.
Yeah, well, it was just a deal where he went to Oregon for an unofficial visit, and rather than fly back to Detroit and then fly to California for the Elite 11, he just stayed extra days in Eugene. And so, again, what I think on that is it has nothing to do with NIL. It's depth chart.
Yeah. And that's all I'm saying about Ricky Collins. I'd love to see him in the LSU.
I've seen Dante Moore's tape. He's an impressive kid.
Yep.
But he's not as good as Walker Howard.
Okay.
Danny Girl definitely needs some quality tight ends in 23 and 24 for depth. I think the current tight end roster is still a bit of a question mark. Absolutely.
Hey, perfect time to interject this. Danny Girl and Nurse Court were 4-star tight ends in their heyday.
There you go. You're going to get me in trouble.
How about that for Twitter Spaces?
Let's see what I got here. Now I forgot what I was going to say. You threw me for a loop.
It's not the first time.
No. Yeah, but everyone has freshmen. Absolutely. Talking about the quarterbacks. Brock Glint went from unranked and made a top 10 in position group in June. Yep. And LSU has offered him, and Auburn, and everybody's going after him. And he's still rated as his 3-star. I'm waiting to, by some. I'm waiting to see what his ranking looks like in a couple of weeks. All right. Scroll up. What do you expect? Oh, here we go. I see what they're seeing. We got a bot in here hitting them all with he's gone. Hold on, guys. I'm scrolling up. Yeah, Michael Chavis. What's up with New Iberia? The players don't want to come to LSU. Let's see how it plays out. I think there's a good chance that Derek Williams is not 1,000% like his tweet said. There's a long time between now and December. All right. So, buddy, what do you think is going to be next for Jay Johnson? What are we waiting on here?
Blake did a good job of talking about the latest news with a big-time pitcher from Southern Miss that got into the portal. Look, with Wes Johnson, and can you imagine the magnitude? This guy is considered one of the best pitching coaches in the world, major league, anywhere. And to go grab him from a first-place team, the Minnesota Twins. Now, he's got tonight and tomorrow, and then he's coming over to Baton Rouge, I think, after the Cleveland series, which ends tomorrow. So he's coming over here. I cannot imagine. Hey, we haven't even talked about the big-time pitchers that they've got already committed, and you got to wait till the draft in July to see if they're going to come here or not. But, man, to throw that out to a kid, Wes Johnson, look up his resume. This kid's going to be your pitching coach? Ha! The sky is the limit.
Buddy, I think the pitching that is going to be added, I don't know that these scrape the surface yet of the new names.
No. And, folks, trust me, because I hit this with Coach Johnson a bunch when he got here. There will be a plethora of left-handed pitchers.
Perseus 01, love LSU. A fan of your show from Oregon. Hashtag Ask Buddy. All the transfer portal guys are great, but they are one-year players. Talent like Williams are multi-year starters and leaders. I'm talking about Derek Williams. And then Bo Swindle adds, Derek Williams will flip back to LSU, Harold Perkins style. Just my opinion.
Well, first of all, transfer portals do not necessarily have to be 1 year. You could be 1, 2, or 3 years. And look, before the transfer portal got big, we were talking about this on the show today. What do you think Joe Burrow would have commanded had NIL been in place in 2018? And so at the time, Joe said it's either Cincinnati or LSU. Remember, he wanted to go to Nebraska, and that clown of a coach didn't want to have anything to do with it, even though the Burrows had played at Nebraska. That all being said, you also have to look at this point of view. What do you do during the 3 years that you play at that school to build your brand and to give you an opportunity to be the first pick in the overall draft? Joe Burrow, and we opine this today, if it had been 2017, let's say he comes over here for $500,000 for 2 years. That's pennies compared to what he's done at LSU, winning the Heisman, and now he runs the whole city of Cincinnati. He's set up for life on what he did in 2 years at LSU. So it's not just the money you get on an NIL deal. You got to worry about what you're going to look like in 3 years for the pros, because that's where you make the big cheese at, Mike.
Yep. If Joe Burrow would have been a sophomore in 2019 and had another year left, can you imagine the NIL money he could have got without even flexing his muscles, without saying unless this, because he wouldn't do that. He's not that kind of kid. But let's say he would have had a little Eli Ricks in him. And, could you imagine the money that Joe Burrow could have got after the 19 season if he had another year of eligibility before he could go pro?
I don't think Joe smoked except that cigar.
But I think the marketability of him, I think the marketing of him would have been the money he could have commanded easily. Just people wanting a piece of him.
Well, my point is
he could have been a $20 or $30 million man.
But my whole point is this. You're signing because you're getting X amount of dollars. These guys gave me the most money to sign with them. Are you going to be a starter? Are you going to get in trouble? Are you going to meet your wife? Are you going to play for championships? But the bottom line for most of them, are you going to the league and are you going to command a big old bag? And Burrow, in his second contract, is going to be making hundreds of millions in his second contract.
I'm relying on you to get me tickets for the Saints-Bengals game.
You better talk to Blake because he's doing that Saints show. Maybe he's got more stroke.
Yeah, Gerard Bryan. Hey, Mike, Texas is on fire in recruiting right now, but if Sarkisian loses 6 games, he will really be on the hot seat. Yeah, I talked to someone today about that. Let's say he holds on to a number 1 ranked recruiting class, or he's right there with Arch Manning and all that with it. How many losses does that give him? Does that make it so he can go 7-5 or 6-6, but he's got a top class with Arch Manning coming in, and it makes him sail through? I think that actually gives him cover. That said, does that make the recruits on board start to fall off if they don't look good and they don't perform well, and you've got any stuff going on in Austin that's people are able to negatively recruit against?
Sark's not going anywhere.
Yeah, Doug knows. Arch bought Sark another 2 years.
But Sark is not going to be on the hot seat. There is only one problem that can get Sark and his career derailed at Texas.
James Martin, I am stunned and disappointed in our recruiting. There is no fence around Louisiana. We are currently out of the top 40 in all recruiting services. I see dark times.
All right, James.
Man. Whew. I'll let Nurse Court and I'll let them handle.
By the way, was there any response? Both of those ladies were highly regarded four-star tight ends.
Yeah, they laughed.
James Martin, I'm going to tell you this, and you can understand the analogy. This is not even the first chapter of what's written in 2022 or 2023. This is something that is like a beauty pageant. Mike, you like blondes, brunettes, or redheads?
Doesn't matter.
You like up top or booty?
Man, you're going to get me in trouble tonight.
But my point is this. It's a beauty contest. Suppose you got a 5-star and he comes in and tinkles his way around. He's smoking the wacky tobacco. He's staying out till 2 o'clock in the morning, but he's a 5-star. He doesn't fit in Baton Rouge right now. So, folks, quit worrying about recruiting rankings. They are not an exact science. And if you don't know recruiting's not an exact science, you haven't been following it long enough.
Yeah.
And not to make, but I'm trying to give the analogy. You may like something differently and fits you. Right now, there is a different standard, and talent is not the overall trait that you have to get to sign at LSU. Has all those guys bought in? Are they all being accountable? Have they all changed to the ways of they're doing things now? Even Keyshawn Butte, after he got his palm greased 2 or 3 times? It's a new LSU football player. Quit worrying about star rankings. If they have 13 penalties in the first game and have a block punt and lose to Florida State 38-26, then I want to hear from James Martin.
Let's see. Boy. Now we got some guys fighting. Let's see. Look, you do need great players, absolutely.
Well, of course you need talent, but you also need character and you need personality traits.
By the way, where's Texas A&M? They got 5 commitments. LSU's got, 6 right now? You think they're panicking? Recruiting rankings right now don't mean anything. I can fill out 5 or 6 guys right now that'll put them probably square in the top 25 just in a week.
Well, I think it's obvious that the reason people are freaking
And
out.
I'm not saying they're getting 5 commitments in the next week, guys. But I can tell you if there's some guys that I think they believe have told them they're coming. I mean, what if all of a sudden you had Caleb Jackson, Shelton Sampson, Kai Preen, boom, you're where you're supposed to be. Those guys are all going to fall in line.
But, Mike, I do believe that the freak out from people right now is that they are worried that the fence around Louisiana is crumbling, okay? And we've said it overall 100 times. You've got to transfer portal. You've got unlimited. So what if you get a big ugly from St. Louis instead of New Iberia? So what? Does he fit? Is he going to get better? Is he going to be a cancer or fit in with the locker room? And can you make him better on and off the field? This is the total package that you get right now, folks. The Eli Ricks and the other types of players that have that hand out and say, you're going to pay me X amount of dollars or I'm going bye-bye, those days are over. You've said it on numerous occasions. Brian Kelly is not going to be held hostage by any one player. I believe that to be fact, and I think that right now you need to jump in the swimming pool and enjoy the summer, because freaking out about this right now is totally overkill, in my opinion.
Let's see what we got here. Yeah, man, we got some guys getting after James with his hot take in the chat. Nurse Court tells him to shut the hell up. And James tells her to go fly a kite. And Michael B says James got Chicken Little syndrome. And let me throw this one up there. Bill Swindle says Shelton Sampson Jr. is a big fish we need to get.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree. Shelton Sampson and Caleb Jackson and all those guys. Now, you keep losing and only get 2 out of the 10. Excuse me. It looks bad. The perception looks bad. But, Mike, I'm going to tell you something right now. This is just a prediction of mine. There are going to be more out-of-state kids in the 2023 class than in-state kids. Okay? That's my prediction. You've already said the state's down this cycle.
It is, and I kept asking, is there going to be a defensive tackle that shows up at camp or in the spring evaluation period? That's a maybe. Is there a defensive end that becomes and it did not materialize. You got 2 quarterbacks at the top, and we know why each one of those is going where they're going, and it makes sense for them. It didn't make sense for LSU. So right now, I think of everything the way it's played out, the only one that I think people should get a little upset about, and I'm saying a little upset, is Derek Williams. Now, like I said, you start losing Shelton Sampson and Lance Hurd and a few others, then go berserk. Just like last year, lost 3 wide receivers. I like Shaz Preston. I like Kendrick Law. I think they're super kids, super dads. Both dads are coaches. But at the same time, Aaron Anderson, I thought, was the guy that was the one that was really going to hurt. And so what? And now in the age of the transfer portal, what is the likelihood that one of those 2 kids might end up in the portal and back home anyways? These kids are going to move around. I think we're going to be shocked. Even schools like Alabama that kids never leave, are we going to start seeing them start to have kids move around? Because it's no longer with the NIL deal and everybody operating under those same rules now. You don't have kids staying at Alabama because it's a financial decision. You know.
You know how many people Texas had in this last NFL draft? You know how many players they had going to draft? Huh? No, you don't know?
What was that?
You know how many players that played at Texas and got drafted this
Zero.
last year? 0. You know how many LSU had?
What was the number?
10. My point is this. Texas has the money. They're going to rebuild. But quit worrying. You got a lot of good football players. And, Mike, the question is this. Can Brian Kelly recruit with the heavyweights called Nick Saban and Kirby Smart and Lane Kiffin and Jimbo Fisher and now Sarkisian? Sarkisian's going to hurt LSU a little bit because they take 2, 3, 4 players of Texas. I wouldn't I say it last year? All you Texas LSU fans that live in Texas, you better belly up because you're going to have to do some NIL money. But it's all relative to the point of, are you going to go other places and get the kind of players that fit? And if you freak out about the states and the people leaving.
I think you did hit on something right there. I think there's one area where I do think that I want to see a little bit more from, and that is recruiting in Texas. But like you said, A&M doing what they did last year with the number 1 ranked class, and now Texas people excited because of Arch Manning. They think that's the beginning of something big. And then of course, both those schools are well financed and got big donors. And, but, you know, and of course now Texas and Oklahoma joining the SEC. And so, you know, we've been wondering, is it a perfect storm where maybe LSU's no longer getting, you know, 2, 3, 4 guys out of Texas every year like they normally do? You know, but look, as soon as he got here, he got Harold Perkins. So, but I'd like to see a little bit more action on some Texas kids.
And here's the other thing we got to add. You didn't get Brooks and Fouché the first time, but you got them the second time. You've been saying it, and this is how smart this staff is. They are recruiting guys that they know might not come, but you might get them in a couple years after they fizzle out on a place that they go to. And so it's just different than it's ever been before. Unlimited Scullies in a year, that's going back many, many years, as long as you don't exceed 85. And, of course, as we know, with the transfer portal, you can get them from everywhere. And, look, you're going to have 10 Midwestern nasty son of a guns that want to eat you morning, noon, and night at the line of scrimmage in 3 years. If that bothers you, then you're not looking at the staff and looking. Didn't they just have a pair of offensive linemen come in?
And a big group of offensive linemen this whole month.
So you know this. Brad Davis is going to start to reap benefits, but I just think people are emphasizing too much because they're not getting them from LSU. I don't care where you get them. As long as they want to play at LSU, that's more important than a guy who says, give me $3.5 million or I'm going to Alabama, Georgia, A&M, Texas, University of Miami, Oregon, USC, Oklahoma, Ohio State. All those teams are paying big bucks. LSU is going to be in there, but they're not going to be in the top with money.
Guys, hit the like button if you're enjoying the show. Please do us a favor. And if you're watching us on YouTube or on Facebook, please subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you're following us on Facebook, hit the like button on TigerBait and the follow in your follow settings. And once the show's over, go to TigerBait, subscribe, choose the annual package. You can try us out for 1 week for $1. We really want to have you as a subscriber. And so we got a lot coming your way as football season's approaching here. I think we're going to be about to have a lot of dominoes start to fall here, particularly the first week of July. There's going to be a lot of moves July 4th, 5th. There's going to be a lot of commitments early next week that's nationally. And I think some of them, we're going to see what happens with LSU. But I think we're about to hit a big news run here when it comes to recruiting, both football and baseball. And, who knows what else Kim Mulkey might have up her sleeve. Kim Mulkey seems to have things timed out, so she's never out of the news cycle very long.
By the way, great job. You working hard on a Friday night to get Michaela Williams on that one-on-one. And as we wrap up, I just want to thank all those people in the service, who have given their lives. We got the 4th of July coming up on Monday. And, we are so lucky. And even though this country has taken some downturn, as we know, as of late, but to have the independence that we have and to have those people that have lost their lives and their blood, sweat, and tears to protect us and let us live the way we want to live and have opinions and differences of opinions. And that's what I like. We're not always going to agree on everything, but for all those people that have served our country, personally, Mike and I want to thank all of you because that's a special holiday on Monday that means a lot to us, especially when we see what's going on in this world right now.
Absolutely.
So,
happy 4th
God bless this country.
Yeah, happy 4th of July to all of you guys. And go subscribe to TigerBait. We want to have you on board. Be back here next week with another show. And, of course, thanks to Pride Roofing and Tony Freeman. And see you guys next week. Thank y'all.